my little brown boy, my brown skin boy. So let me sing again, brown boy. Yeah, I want to hold you closer and tell you how I love you. Yeah, my little brown boy.
Jackie, welcome to Can I Ask You a Question?
Thank you.
Before we go, one question we must ask.
Yeah.
Who is Jackie Jaxx?
Jackie Jaxx is a black woman from the countryside of Guyana. So you get to understand that I come from a very rich cultural background. I grew up in a Yoruba community in Guyana, so I grew up dancing to African music and African drums and attending libation ceremonies. But I grew up in the countryside, so I also grew up around Indo music and Indo culture. And so my music, my personality, who I am, is heavily influenced by the multiplicities of ethnicities in Guyana.
Great. What one word best describes your childhood in the countryside?
My childhood? Rough. Rough.
What's an average day like for you?
I think I'm a very laid back person, a little too laid back, because I used to take the worrying and get things done fast approach. So I spend most of my time in my head, most days, but I journal everything down and I try to accomplish things task by task. So you'll probably see me doing one thing at a time, and that's what I do every day.
What time does your day start?
It depends. Sometimes when I'm on the road, I'm touring, I get a bit late because I go in late. You know, I'm asleep at 3 o'clock in the morning, so I'm up like 11 the next day. But on a typical day when I'm at home, I'm up before the sun rises, some days, 7 o'clock.
On average, how long does it take you to get ready daily?
Half hour. Or 45 minutes, tops.
Wow. So transitioning to your music, what led you to a career in music?
Music led me. Since I was a child, I was 3 or 4, I used to tell my mother I was in nursery school, I'm going to be a singer. You know, nobody believed me because I had a little squeaky voice, but I sang in primary school and secondary school. I was the head of the choir. So I think music chose me, and it was up to me to make myself available and ready to be a vehicle for music.
How did you get your start in the industry?
I'm a very determined person, extremely determined. If you can call me anything, it would be that. So I believe that I can accomplish anything that seems realistic, and this was realistic. So I networked. I was working in the media as a journalist, so I took advantage of that, and I met people in promotion and entertainment, and so I said, listen, I sing. Could I sing for free at this event and that event? And I basically started singing for free every single place, and then, you know, my value went up as I became more valuable.
Okay. Who or what has been the greatest influence on your music career?
Personally, I think me, because this is the only thing I've ever wanted to do. Of course, I look to other artists for inspiration, and I get inspiration from dancers and painters and writers because I love to watch their creative process as well. But it comes personally, it comes from me. I motivate myself, I influence myself because I think my dream is much bigger than me. You know what I mean? It's much bigger than me, so I submit to my inspiration.
Fill in the blank. My music aims to
inspire.
How would you describe your sound?
Fusion, as a fusion. Growing up in Guyana, as I said, you know, chutney music, Bollywood music was there. The Afro beats and that was my foundation. And you know, we got to listening to a lot of reggae music, pop music, R&B. So I pull from every single thing. Yeah.
Personal branding as an artist, as we know, is very important.
Yes.
Describe your personal brand for our viewers.
I would say that my personal brand is about 60% of my business. 40% is the creativity and producing the work, but branding brings everything together in a very comprehensive way. So you can look at me and you can tell what kind of artist I am by the way that I present myself. You can hear how I talk and the content that I speak. You can probably get an idea of what my merchandise will be. You know what I mean? And I'm an artist as well as I draw. I'm a visual artist as well. So I draw my own album covers, and I present this natural look. So every single thing gels together. My sound, my look, the way I speak, and the people that are in my demographic, they get the idea. So personal branding is, I think, a greater percentage of my business than the actual product.
Alright, so this brings us to our first game. It's called Road Trip. In this game, you must select 5 persons to go on a road trip with you, 4 of whom you trust, and 1 that you do not trust with your life. Name all 5 persons without disclosing the one you do not trust.
Don, Nilsson, Delicia, Lizzie, and Nikki Nix.
Your authenticity as an artist, I would say, is one of the most important things. And you're very authentic in that. In the aspect of personal sound, I would say you're one of the Guyanese artists that I can listen and you represent Guyana and Guyanese music and Guyanese culture without trying to sound like someone else. What advice would you give someone in achieving that?
Well, first of all, thank you for noticing that, because that has been an uphill climb. I had problems with it at first because, I come from singing in church. That was the first place I started to sing. So I had to transition to making popular music. And what was popular at the time was dancehall and soca, but that wasn't exactly me. I tried to sound like a Jamaican. It didn't work. It didn't mesh with me. So I took some time, and that's another thing that I would advise artists, creative people. Take as much time as you need to find yourself, to experiment, because a lot of people put a lot of pressure on creative people to get it right every single time. No, you don't. You know what I mean? You have to get it wrong before you can get it right. So be patient with yourself and believe in your ability to find yourself. I took time. I took 3 years from music, and I think right now I found my sound. Take time, be patient with yourself, and know that you're going to get there.
So a lot of music has to do with process. It's a process to find your sound. It's a process to develop your brand.
Yes.
Walk us through your creative process.
It differs according to what I'm going to create, because I'm now getting into creating short films to go along with my music. I tend to take a lot of time to myself. I think creative people should live alone. They don't need to live with other people. It's too much, because we exist within a different realm. We create content from picking up on people's feelings and the emotions that we see in a setting. So it's important for me to be alone. I spend time with myself. I'm always surrounded by instruments, and I look at a lot of content from other people, and I surround myself with a lot of other creative people too, because I gain influence from a lot of other people. So maybe I'll take a day to write a song. Sometimes I take 3 months. The songs write themselves. I am just here as the vessel to bring them from the ethereal realm to the physical realm. So that's my process.
What's your point of view as an artist?
My point of view? I aim to inspire. And as I said, I now see myself as only as the vehicle. I think there's nothing new under the sun. There's absolutely nothing new. So inspiration exists. I'm just a channel. That's how I see myself.
What's the greatest challenge facing artists in the Guyanese music industry?
Authenticity is one. Finding your own sound is one. We do have an identity crisis that we have to address. For example, the DJs. Every single DJ speaks as a Jamaican, and I don't agree with it. But as I said, I think they need to take time to find themselves, and it's fine. However, I do think that we need to go on a journey of self-discovery individually. Every single creative in Guyana should submit to the journey of self-discovery. The second thing is taking yourself seriously and what you do seriously, because we put a lot of time, effort, attention there's a reason why people say you pay attention, because it's extremely costly. So you have to take yourself seriously. So when you go to bargain your talent, that you sell yourself for much more than you're worth, because we undersell ourselves a lot. And then there is the corporate community that I believe they can do so much, but I must thank my sponsors, eNetworks, Sassy Styles, Pieces and Things, Selena's Craft. I'm wearing her jewelry from Guyana, because these people, every time I say I have something going on, they come on board. So I'm encouraging the corporate community, the government, and other people within the community who think that they can't support us to lend us a helping hand.
How important is collaboration for you?
Collaboration is everything. We have, especially in Guyana, but coming out here, I saw collaboration happen. This is a collaborative effort. You know, I was invited here, and I'm so grateful to, can I ask you a question for inviting me here? But because the creative community is more or less very competitive. You have people who are at the top or people who are at the bottom. It's very polar, you know. It's a very polar community. So in order, if you're not at the top, you need to be collaborating. You know, you need to collaborate with a video editor if you are an artist. The dancer needs to collaborate with a DJ, and this is how we're going to get work done. Collaboration is everything. If you don't collaborate, you're looking thin.
On that note, name 3 artists you would love to collaborate with.
Don G. I have plans to collaborate with Don G because he's a huge vocalist from Guyana. Guyanese need to know that we are out here. Secondly, Chronix. I think Chronix is an amazing writer, and I love how he uses his vocals. And the last person that I would collaborate with, and that's not the last, Burna Boy. I am a huge Burna Boy fan. Woke up a couple people. Fuck. And I love Afrobeats music. So Burna Boy, Jackie Jaxx, let's make it happen.
Favorite song to sing in the shower?
Shadi. When am I gonna make a living?
How do you get your voice ready for live performances?
Well, I do, this is my secret, a little bit of my secret. I use Vapor Rub, and I put it in hot water. And then I put a rag over my head, and I submerge my face into the bowl, and it sounds gross, but all the mucus and every single thing, and then I chew raw ginger. And I don't speak for a few hours, and my voice is crystal clear.
Who's your favorite vocalist?
Right now, it would have to be Savannah from Jamaica, Savannah Siren.
Give us a drop of one of your songs.
This is a song that I'm releasing on an EP called Eldorado Gold on February 1st, 2020. Brown boy, I want to hold you closer and tell you how I love you. My little brown. Early morning before sundawning, me loving up, cuddling up with my darling. 5 to 6 right before me alarm ring. I your name a calling. Brown Boy coming soon.
What's the inspiration for Brown Boy?
Guyana. Guyanese culture is so rich. Like, I think Guyanese are the funniest people on the entire planet. And Brown Boy was about life in the country.
Single or dating?
I'm single, but I don't go on dates as yet, but I'm out here in these streets looking for a rich paid man, a big man, nobody over 30, under 38. Just putting it out there.
What other qualities do you look for in a significant other?
Personally, you have to be a protector, a provider, and competent, because, incompetence is not attractive. I'm a woman of my word. I work very hard, so I need the equal and even better in a partner. As a woman, I think women should be protected. We should be provided for. We should be treated as precious cargo, because a woman can add a significant deal of stability and comfort to your life. So I'm looking for a partner who can match and even exceed my expectations.
What has been your most memorable performance to date?
To date, it would have to be SWS in Guyana, hosted by Hits and Jams Entertainment. I took a little Sky Vodka, and I'm very sorry, because I'm very nervous. I've been performing for 11 years. professionally. But that was the latest crowd I've ever performed for. So SWS, it's hits and jams. Big up yourselves.
How do you keep your fans engaged?
My social media interaction is off the chains. I love people. So that's one of my skills and one of my gifts. So it's extremely easy to deal with social media. You know, it demands a lot of you, but social media is one of my strengths, social media interaction.
You just mentioned you've been in the music industry for 11 years.
Yeah.
What has been your biggest challenge to date?
It has been financial support. You know, I didn't start out here as anybody rich. You know, I was a young girl working in the media for a little meager salary, and I needed to get a lot done. Music is very expensive to do. You know, one song can cost you probably $2,500, and that is not even the best production that you can possibly find. It's good. So getting the finances to get my work done was a challenge. However, collaboration made it possible for me to be here.
Rate the music industry in Guyana on a scale from 1 to 10.
As soon as you said rate, 2 came to my mind. So I'm going to stick with 2. Reason being, we have very far way to go. I think the only people who are very serious about it are the creatives, because this is the way that we make money. This is what we love to do. We're passionate about it. But the entire rest of the country needs to catch up, because they need to help us create the infrastructure so that we can not only earn income, but this could be a viable industry that can survive and thrive on its own. So I give them a 2. We have a far way to go, and we need everybody's help to make it happen. We need governmental intervention and for them to take it seriously, because we've been going back and forth about copyright laws and the importance for years. And I think, as Don Jane mentioned, we just got used to the lawlessness, people printing people's books and come back selling my CDs and making money off of it. I'm not making any money. And, you know, the lawlessness has become a way for people to make a check, and it's not cute, because my intellectual property is my legacy. This is what my children will inherit. And how can they, when there is no infrastructure, you know, no way for me to make royalties, no way for, as a dancer, for me to copyright this move and somebody making $1 million off of it in Switzerland, because, you know, they can just come to this part of the world and steal, because, you know, who's looking at this part of the world? So I think most of all, we need the government to take copyright and intellectual property and establishing an environment where creatives can be paid and they can have longevity in their craft seriously.
Outside of music, what do you enjoy doing?
I'm a visual artist as well. I'm a Taurus. So I'm a very earthy kind of person. I like to grow plants. I like to plant. I plant basil and thyme and tomatoes and peppers. And I'm very interested in anything to do with spirituality. I'm a numerologist, an amateur numerologist. So I spend a lot of time in my mind creating and channeling, you know, all these different spiritual concepts. And physically, I like sports. I'm a very active person. I play badminton.
What's your short-term goal?
Short term, to achieve stability. Stability is very important for me as a Taurus and as a woman, to achieve stability, because when I'm stable, especially as a creative, you know, I can focus on creating. I just want to spend my entire life creating and not have to worry about my stability. So that's my short-term goal.
How do you handle criticism in relation to your music?
Before, I used to cry and complain. Now I would listen and try to decipher whether or not it's constructive or destructive criticism. And if it's constructive criticism, the only criticism that I pay attention to, I listen to what they have to say, and maybe it's not something that I can implement right now, but in the long term, I take criticism very seriously, and I think that it's necessary in order for me to grow as a creative and as a person.
In one word, what has your journey as an artist been like?
A roller coaster. 2 words. My creative journey has also been a very spiritual and personal journey. So they're both happening at the same time. My spiritual um, awakening happened with my creative awakening. And I think it's meant to happen like that. Because when I wake up to myself, that's when you can hear me in the music. So that has been my journey.
If you had the opportunity to work with any producer, who would that be?
I don't have anybody particular in mind, but I would work with somebody in Afro beats because I think African music is the foundation of all music. And the drums are the foundation of everything, they're the pulse of life. So I'd work with somebody who produces Afro beats music because I think they channel from a very pure source.
Are we gonna get some Afro beats from Jackie Jaxx soon?
Definitely. I'm playing around with a few, different types of songs right now, and you're gonna get a lot of things.
We cannot wait. What's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear, losing myself, because I think when I'm in touch with myself, I'm a queen. I'm in charge, and I don't have to be in charge, but I'm present. Losing myself, it kind of happened a bit once, and I know what can happen if I lose myself ever again, but I am not afraid of it ever happening again.
How do you deal with the pressures of living up to the societal beauty standards as a female artist?
I don't deal with it. I deal with myself and living up to my own personal standards. And I think that as long as I'm well groomed, I take care of myself, that I've done more than enough. Anything else is a bit extra, and if you don't like what I offer, that is fine. You can find somebody else who offers what you like.
You're about to release an album on your life.
Yeah.
What would the first single be called?
El Dorado Gold, because I'm actually releasing an album about my life, and it's called El Dorado Gold, and it's about the soul of the Guyanese woman and our worth.
What has been the highlight of your career thus far?
Performing in Beijing, China, because it came out of nowhere, and the cultural difference, I didn't really expect them to respond to me the way that they did, and it makes me so grateful to be a cultural ambassador for Guyana, because I think Guyana has something extremely special, and that has been the highlight of my career, representing Guyana on such a world stage.
What advice would you give to young up-and-coming artists?
I would tell them to learn to love themselves, because when you love yourself, it encompasses every single thing in your life, your craft, your finances, your personal relationships, because every single thing affects you as a creative. Find yourself, learn to love yourself, stabilize and ground yourself, and you're going to be the most creative, the best artist you could ever be.
Our second game is called Good, Better, Best. In this game, you will rate Guyanese producers in order of natural talent.
Good.
Daryl Pugsley, Drew Thoven, Birchmore Simon.
Birchmore Simon, best. Daryl Pugsley, better. Drew Thoven, great. I can't even say he's good.
So now that you're back from your hiatus, Jackie, what can fans expect?
You can expect a grounded artist, somebody who understands time management a lot more. I'm more serious about my craft because I'm not worrying about my mental health and my emotional health and my friends and my family. And, I'm grounded now, so you can expect a more grounded artist. You can expect new music, because even when I was gone, I was writing, because this is what I do. I have a new project debuting in December. The first single will be out in December, and the entire project will be released in February 1st of 2020. It's called Brown Boy. It's my first EP. It will feature 4 songs, 2 bonus features, and I think it's my first collection of classics. I like to call them classics. People have responded really well to them. So El Dorado Gold, let me give you a preview of the lead single on the album. She's got soul, yeah, like El Dorado Gold, rich in beauty so divine. Her glow can blow your mind, a precious gem, yes, she's the kind they travel far to find. So if you meet her, hug and greet her, treat her right, nobody tug and beat her. She's a keeper, a GT girl, she's got soul, yeah, like El Dorado Gold. And the entire EP encompasses the worth of Guyanese, the worth of Guyanese women, why our culture is important, and why we deserve to exist in the same space with everybody who's big in music right now.
All right, so there you guys had it, an exclusive of the Brown Boy Project coming next February 2020. Single exclusive for Eldorado Gold coming to you guys soon. So lots to look forward to coming from Jackie Jaxx in 2020 and in December. So stay tuned, guys. That's a wrap for this episode of Can I Ask You a Question with Jackie Jaxx.
Just tell me what you want.